Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, Swarna.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we seem to be having lots of time. I was really trying hard, to contain my content within 25 minutes. So bonus, good for us. So let's start, okay? So good morning, everyone. I hope thanks for tuning into this session. I hope you find it useful. It's a beginner level session, seeing the type of audience who have registered. So many are our campus recruitment folks and people from other colleges and universities as well. So welcome everyone. Let's start. Mouse is not working. Okay. Yeah, it's clicking now. Okay, let's start. So today we are going to talk about Azure Cognitive Services, specifically what is Azure Cognitive Search. Then we are going to talk about how it is different from other search engines, what are its features, what types of data sources it can take input from, and the most important part, how does it work? And then we are going to talk about some of the use cases. Later on, Himanshu will be giving the demo. Okay, so to understand how great cognitive services are, yes, they are indeed great. So we can go and look up the dictionary definition of the word cognition. So it is explained as mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. So these are very much human-like qualities, right? So that's why it looks like very heavy-duty stuff, which indeed it is. And trying to teach a machine to behave like a human is indeed a great thing. So I find cognitive services really very interesting, very exciting, and it's great, to work with them and to understand how these things work and what's the background technology, the machine learning models which are behind it, which are powering it, and all that. So, but when you consider Azure Cognitive Services, they look like very easily consumable services. Now, how is that possible? Because they are sitting on top of Microsoft stack of data science capabilities. Okay, they are sitting on top of algorithms which are based on Microsoft's research, and it's powered by a very flexible architecture from infrastructure actually from Azure. So this foundation is the thing which makes it look pretty cool, because all the hard work is hidden behind the scenes. So we as developers, we just need to, plug in these services, provision them, and then just call them in our code and make use of them. So that's why we don't realize, the amount of trouble or the hard work and research and development which has gone into developing these kind of services. Right. So Azure Cognitive Services are divided into different categories like vision, speech, language, decision, and there's a new category which is under preview. It's called as OpenAI. Now, these categories actually keep changing, so you should look them up from time to time. So you may be aware that there was a category called as knowledge earlier, and there was a category called as search earlier. But when I looked at this Azure documentation recently, I found that those categories are not there, and these are the new set of categories. So it keeps happening because Azure is a platform which keeps changing and evolving, and lots of new updates keep taking place. So it's always a good idea that you keep in touch with the platform on a regular basis. Maybe you can schedule some time per week and look at all the updates which are happening. It's really an exciting place to be in. So under vision, we have computer vision, we have custom vision, and we have face API. Under speech, we have different abilities, to convert speech to text, text to speech. So when we say speech, it's audio format actually, and then do translation of speech, and has also, we have a service which can recognize different speakers. And under language, we have ability to recognize entities. Now, this is a very important feature, and it is very much used in Azure Cognitive Search. Okay, then we have the ability to understand user sentiment basis what they are typing or what they are talking or what is happening in the chat, for example, or on Twitter or any platform. Okay, and then there is an ability to answer questions in an automated manner, and there is also translation facility which is available, and ability to understand conversations. Okay, so human beings have very different ways of talking, and the way of saying things. Some people, like, talk very less, but in that short sentence they are able to convey much. But some people take, a lot of time, they go about describing stuff, and then basically, a lengthy way of explaining. So this different people and different ways of communicating, right? So the ability to extract, the context and what is the user's intention is very important. So this conversational language understanding is a new feature, and wherever you can see a star, so it is under preview. Like OpenAI is under preview, and conversational language understanding is also under preview. Then we have decision, where we have anomaly detection. We have content moderation, and then we have personalizer. Now, anomaly detection, it is a very important thing wherein, it is used for credit card frauds, or wherever any banking transactions are going on, or you want to detect, like, if there is any deviation from the normal, like maybe even in something as simple as, project management. So if you're a project manager and you want to understand, like, if there are any sudden changes or sudden issues, it will definitely show up in your graphs, okay, and in your charts. So you can and then and anomaly detection is not like, simply looking at outliers. It will also look at patterns of outliers, and what all is happening. Lots of capabilities are there. Then we have content moderation, wherein, you're trying to filter out maybe abusive language or pornography, or abnormal content which is not good for the consumer or the users. So maybe, let's say, it's children logging in, they should not be seeing some content, right? So content moderator is very important these days, considering that internet has become a vast source of so much of data and images. And similarly, we have a personalizer. Now it is able to, create user specific experience. So it tries to understand what this user is about, what do they generally go about looking at or searching for, or what are the features they use in some applications and all. So it tries to personalize the user experience and make the content more relevant. So these are all decision making processes. Then we have OpenAI. Now this is a really exciting space to watch out for. Just today morning I was reading about its algorithm now, and it is really, giving genuine human-like natural text. Now, so earlier, whatever like models were there, neural network models were there, like they were based out of, maybe only 10 billion variables. But this is like, huge, humongous. I think it has some 175 billion variables or something like that. I don't remember the numbers, but because of that, it is really becoming more human-like. It can write poems, it can write articles, stories, dialogues also. So maybe we don't need script writers in the future for our movies. Could be like that. Okay, so now let's go on and look at what is Azure Cognitive Search. Now it is search as a service offering, okay, with built-in AI capabilities. It offers a full text search, and but this text search is based on content which is provided by a user or developers of the application, okay, whichever like organization which is making use of this application. So it also has ability to create very high quality indexes, because it is going to extract content from all this data in a much better fashion, because it is making use of cognitive services. And some like these are the ones which we saw in the last slide. Now it also provides very rich and easy querying, as we can use simple syntax, we can use full Lucene syntax and take help from type ahead feature also. Okay, one point I missed out about programming. Okay, so for developers, there are REST APIs available, there are SDKs available, and in all the popular languages. So what the developer has to do is just import some NuGet packages, get the relevant keys from the portal where the services is set up. Like basically, like if you're trying to do admin operations, you'll need the admin key. If you're trying to do just simple querying, then you will need the query key. So get them from the portal, and then you can just simply start coding. Okay. Now, coming to comparison with other search engines. Now, search engines have been there for a long time, right? Because search is a very basic functionality. But so how is Azure Cognitive Search different from these other search engines? So basically, Cognitive Search is like your own private search engine. It is based off your own data, which is not exposed to the internet. So when it comes to like something like Microsoft Search, it is specific. It is specific to Microsoft 365 users or Office 365. That's what you call it. So these users are already authenticated using maybe the active Azure Active Directory, and these people are going to search over content which is present in their own organization. So whatever is present in Office 365, whether it is Word or Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint, Teams, Yammer, or anything like Outlook. So, this search can go over all this data which is present anyway, and give content to the employees. So maybe employees are looking for any precedents or any guidelines, any previous presentations from which they can pick up content, or maybe looking for previous experience, or whatever it is that they are looking for. So it's very useful within an organization. Okay. Now Bing search, it is like searching over the internet. Okay. So if you are making use of web search API, so basically you are providing it terms which it has to search on the internet. So that's the difference. Then we have database search. Now, all databases, they provide indexing, right? And they provide full text search facility. But if you have to make use of database search, you have to do a lot of programming to get relevant search results, right? And the indexing and all that it is created in databases manually by someone. Okay, after maybe when they see a problem, or if anything happens, then they go about creating extra indexes, or because it is a very costly feature, and so generally it is like created only when required, only when you feel the pain. So that's the difference. But in case of Azure Cognitive Search, what happens is it creates these indexes, and these indexes are way better, and we are going to see about them in the coming slides. Okay, so now let's look at some of the features. So first of all, it is a fully managed service, so it's not troublesome at all. You can set it up very quickly, and you can work with it very quickly and very easily. Okay, and it has built-in AI capabilities. It has some good features like autocomplete, geospatial search means basically it knows the location. Okay, it knows the location of the content, and you can also do filtering and faceting, etc. So we'll look at them in the coming slides also, and in the demo as well. So this is possible because the cognitive search index, it contains many fields and properties which make search very fast. Now it also offers semantic search capability, which uses advanced machine learning techniques to understand user intent. Okay, and basis that understanding, there's a ranking done, so that the most relevant search results are put up first for the user to see. So together, all these features and facilities, they create a very good and rich user experience. And we have a lot of support for different types of data sources. Okay, the first category is like Azure's own data sources, like Blob Storage, Cosmos DB, Azure SQL database, and Azure Table Storage, Azure Data Lake Storage. And then there are some under preview data sources like SharePoint, Cosmos DB using Mongo API and Gremlin, Azure MySQL, Azure Files. Then we have Power connectors to connect to other cloud platforms. So For example, Elasticsearch, Amazon Redshift, Salesforce Object, Salesforce Reports, Smartsheet, Snowflake, etc. And then we have partners who make data sources which are compatible with our service, right? So some of these partners are like Adobe, Amazon, and Alfresco. So now this is all the basic stuff about this service. Now let's move on and see how does it work. Okay, so first we need a data source. It can be a single database or multiple sources of data. Once data is uploaded, then the process of understanding this data starts. It is called as document cracking. Here, content is extracted from the document, and next comes the enrichment of this content which has been extracted. Now this enrichment is done using cognitive skills. So this is where the whole power comes from. Okay, but mind it that this enrichment is an optional step. So you can directly go from document cracking to search index. But if you really want to make use of this Azure Cognitive Search abilities, then you should make use of this enrichment pipeline. You should set it up, make use of all the cognitive skills and facilities available. At least try it out, what all additional benefit or efficiency and what all they can provide. Okay, so there are innumerable possibilities. So after you are done with the enrichment, what happens is a search index is created. Now at this point, the search index is is queryable, okay, and it can be called from different applications. You can have a human being making use of the search index and directly querying it. Okay, and or you can have different web applications or analytics applications, or even further it can act as further input to machine learning also. And whatever enrichment has taken place, these enriched documents can also be stored in a knowledge store, because these are like temporary kind of documents. Unless you store them, they are going to disappear. So they are stored as projections. Now we will go over these steps in detail. Okay. So the first step is data ingestion. There are two ways to load data now. So either you push it or you let the search indexer pull in. So, now different terminology will come in. So just be patient. I'll explain it. So what happens is that, basically there is no restriction on the type of data. It can be structured data. It can be unstructured data. Now structured data means your usual RDBMSs like SQL Server, MySQL, or unstructured data can be anything, like NoSQL databases, APIs, blob storage, files, images, emails, SMSs. So basically anything which can be converted to JSON format and taken in. So everything is acceptable. Okay, images are acceptable. Anything and everything is acceptable. So what happens is, and there is no restriction on the data source type. There is no restriction on the frequency you want to upload. You can upload single documents. You can upload in batches also. But I think when you are trying to upload in batches, there is a limit to the number of files, and limit either, I think, to the size. Okay, the size you are uploading. So that's about the data store part. So once that is done, next is like document cracking. But let's understand the cognitive search process a bit. So central to this Azure Cognitive Search is something called a search index. Okay, that's what we are trying to fill. Okay, so whatever data sources, whatever enrichment we are doing, we are trying to fill the search index. So, and what does it consist of? It consists of search documents. Okay, it is not a simple index how you see in a database table. Okay, it is like a table, but it follows a particular schema. So it contains many fields, and these fields have different attributes also attached to them, like they are searchable, they are retrievable, they are sortable, they are filterable, facetable, they are key is also an attribute. So all these attributes have different meaning, like like searchable, and searchable means it is going to make use of that field to search. Okay, and retrievable means it will be shown to the user. If something is not marked like that, then it won't be shown to the user. Sortable is only going to be used for sorting purpose. Filtering is going to come up later, you know. So like that, you know, all these terms have different meaning, though this may seem to be, you know, used for the basic purpose of searching only, but little bit differences are there, and you can go over the documentation and try to understand them. So if you're using the pull method, something called as an indexer comes into picture. So it is basically a crawler that will extract the searchable content from the data source, and it will populate the search index. So depending on the data source, the indexer is supposed to try different operations to extract data. So for example, if you are giving it a PDF, it can extract text from PDF, it can extract metadata. PDFs generally have metadata. Now for a database, it can pick up non-binary content. And suppose if you provided some skills like image skills, it can also extract images. So this is all part of document cracking. And once we are done with document tracking, that means like we are you know done with ingesting the data, and now we can you know go on to the next step. So this step is about enrichment, okay? And mind you, this is an optional step, as I told you earlier also. But let's see, okay, how it is made use of, because this is really the heart and capability of this search feature, right? So the indexer, it will extract text from a source field, and it will send it to a destination field in the search index. Okay. Uh, Search index or knowledge store also, it can send anywhere. Now this is what is called as field mapping. But if you have like you know skill sets being put in place, okay, you are making use of the skill set enrichment, then you need to have output field mappings. So what is that? That is like you know mapping between the enriched document and the destination field. So then this becomes important, and after that everything is like you know gets pushed into the index. So why we need AI enrichment actually depends on the use case. So it can be used to identify patterns, like you know, obtain more information and gain more understanding. So generally, it will be vision and language services which are used. Like computer vision services can analyze images or videos to detect maybe you know detect people, celebrities, classify faces, landmarks, or even objects also, right? And it can also caption these images, and maybe if in an image there's a handwriting, maybe it's a handwritten note, and whose photograph has been taken, then it can also transcribe that handwriting. It can understand what's written and convert it into normal text. Okay. Now, natural language processing services, they can understand written language and spoken language also. So audio is also handled. So they can interpret sentiment, they can detect and translate languages also, extract words, extract key phrases, and the names of people, locations, organizations, and all the things. So when we go over the use cases, you will understand it better. So each AI enrichment stuff can, you know, actually act on the original source data, or it can, you know, all these things can be sequenced, uh, uh, you know, one after the other, so that, you know, they keep acting on the previous enriched data. So step one, let's say some language service is there. It works on the source data and it creates an enriched document. Then step two, maybe people or something else is there, maybe vision is being used. So it will work on this enriched data, and then it will do its work. Okay, so there can be sequencing. So what we need to understand is we need to set up this pipeline correctly as per the use case. Excuse me, I need to have water. I really need to have water. Okay, so let's move on. Again, my mouse is not working. Oh yeah, it's working now. Okay, so we were talking about skills, right? So some of these skills, these are like, all the skills which are available, built-in skills, and some are custom skills. Excuse me. So some of these skills we can understand from their names, like what they do. But I'll try to explain a few of them. So for example, entity linking, this skill. So this, it will first find out any entity, and it will make use of a pre-trained model, to generate links to articles in Wikipedia. So you will find a link, and when you click on that link, it will go to Wikipedia article about that entity. So similarly, like sentiment skill will assign labels like negative, neutral, or positive for user sentiment. Split skill will divide text into pages for incremental enrichment. Conditional skill, which is present under util skills, it will, excuse me. So it allows filtering, assigning a default value, and merging data based on a condition. So custom skills are modules like, which you will design, develop, and deploy to the web. And then you can call them using any web API. My God.
Swarna, you can take few seconds of break if.
Since I think I'm talking a lot suddenly. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Let's let's not take a break. Conditional mod. So custom. We were talking about custom skills, right? So we can make HTTP calls to a web API, and then we can make use of these custom skills. So another version is like AML. We can, if we are not satisfied with all these skills which are already provided, what we can do is we can go to the level of Azure machine learning models. Okay, so then the next step, this is the final step, which is explore and analyze. So here basically our search index is ready. Okay, and it is ready to use. So, and we also have a knowledge store. If we took the trouble to create it, now we can start querying it either manually or through any web application. Okay, and web application, maybe we have written, or maybe whatever, like, so we have some clients who have web applications who are going to consume our search index, or whatever it is. So we can also make use of analytical tools like Power BI, AML, and Azure Database, Bricks, etc. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, now let's move on and look at the use cases. So the first use case which I'm going to talk about is digital content management. So here we are trying to, this is a really good example actually. So like, if we have like, people, companies like publishers or media houses or sports leagues or even museums. So they have lot of media content. So it is video content, it is audio content, and it is also, text, or maybe they may have newspaper articles, they may have old photographs of all the previous events which they covered or which they participated in, and 100 other things, right? So they have huge content. And if some employee, even employee, wants to search and look for that old content, then imagine if like cognitive search were not there, like intelligent searching were not there, then he will get lots of search results if we were making use of simple search, and he will have to again search through all the search results and maybe not able to find. So it happens with us also, right? Many times when you are trying to solve some technical problem, and we type some query, and then again it doesn't work out, then we type type in another way or in another language, or use another set of keywords. So we try all that, right? So I'm sure like each one of us is very familiar if we are into coding. So similarly, like if such kind of content is there, how difficult do you think it will be, right, to go through all these articles and all this media? So if they are making use of Azure Cognitive Search, what happens is they can obviously analyze the images. Like we have that computer vision, custom vision, and all those things. So we can analyze images. We can also, see what is in the images, like what objects are there, what people are there, whether celebrities are there. So all those things we can do. But in addition to that, we can make use of more skills, to understand which location this art comes from, or who is the artist, what is his biography, where he comes from, what is his history, and which period of art he belongs to, or what is his way, and all these things. So there are hundred lots of possibilities basically. So with such kind of a search index, if a user or an employee or even is trying to search for content, then it will really make life very easy. So that's a very good example, and I really like this example. So we are going to show you a video towards the end of the presentation. Uh, so the next use case, this is also very interesting. It's about customer support and feedback analytics. So we all know about customer support, right? I think recently I called a customer helpline and I was just waiting in queue for 25 minutes and I was just the third one in line. So to go from 3 to 2 to 1 and then my turn, it really took 25 minutes. So what do you think the customer support executive was doing, talking so long and trying to understand what's the problem? And meanwhile, in the background, they keep trying to search for the solution. Okay, so how to help out this customer? What is this customer looking for? So they try to search, and then depending upon how good those search results are, um, their answer depends. So sometimes they are able to solve our problems very fast, and sometimes we find that they say that we'll get back to you and all those kind of things. So suppose if a company is making use of Azure Cognitive Search, so all the enrichment is already done. You can provide it all the legal documents, all the product information, customer, user manuals, service manuals, support documentation. You can even provide it support call recordings, chat logs, and all these things. And basis this, it can create a very good search index because it can do key phrase extraction. It can build up all the technical keywords, and it can, shape out all the information. And create a very good search index. So now the speed of this employee serving you really increases, okay? And so it makes everybody happy. The customer support executive is happy, the customer is happy, and really makes the process very efficient. So this is also one very good use case which I liked. Um, Next is data extraction and process management. So here, basically, we are trying to avoid manual data entry. Like, for example, if you're trying to do data entry from bank statement or income statements or cash flow statements or something like annual reports, what is the chance of committing errors? Huge chance, because these are all full of numbers and lots of zeros and commas and all these things. And definitely pouring over these documents, if you have seen a cash flow statement and annual report, so pouring over those documents and picking up the text correctly will be very difficult, right? The other scenario is technical content review and research. So technical documents are also huge, like they're full of engineering standards. You will have product manuals, and you will have user guides, and lots of content present, right? So if you were trying to review such a document, you can miss, right? It is possible, to miss something, or to forget about something, right? But so that's why this example is of an RFP document. Now, request for proposal, it contains technical content, it contains financial content, it contains lots of images related to process or stuff like that. So those who are working in the software field obviously know about this document, right? So if such a document goes through Azure Cognitive Search, so all the key phrase extraction, engineering standards extraction, so entity extraction, and financial figures extraction, everything can happen, and the search index can show it up to you, and an application which is based out of search index can show it up to you, and then you can review it very easily, right? And there won't be any mistakes also in at least in the figures, which are very important, right? So this is one very good example. Then we have auditing and compliance management. So this is also a very important use case, I think, because when you're trying to submit data to regulatory authorities, or undergoing any compliance or auditing, so then it becomes very important. Even like meeting minutes become very important, and lots of stuff becomes very important. And if you make any mistakes, or any human error is possible anytime, right? So but here in this case it will cost you dollars, right? Millions of dollars, not a few dollars. And then if you go over the net and you search for such bloopers, you will find many, right? Where due to a small comma, or due to an interchange of numbers, like company has lost lots of dollars. So I remember one example about Tokyo Stock Exchange. So where there was a small mistake, like they were like X number of shares we are going to sell for 1 yen. Okay, so the Japanese currency is yen. So actually it was so it became a very cheap sale, like 1 yen is like nothing. So but actually what they meant is one share we are going to sell for XXX yen, and this XXX was in 100,000. So I think it cost the company some $200 million or something like that. So it's a small mistake, like interchange of numbers, but it cost a lot, right? So here Azure Cognitive Search becomes really very important. Like if you're trying to, you have a web application front which makes use of this search index, and really extracts and shows up all the important information from these kind of legal documents, agreements or deeds or policies or terms of use or whatever it is, like NDS, whatever you have. So it will bring up all this important stuff for review. Okay, so that any person, like for example a compliance manager uh, who is going over this document, he can easily check, okay, that all the important stuff is written correctly, no problem. So then this is a really good way to make use of Azure Cognitive Search. So I think with this I'm coming to the end of my presentation. Except like we are going to go into demo. So how are we going to set it up? So first step, obviously you have to provision the service. You have to go ahead and create it. But mind you, this is a very costly thing. If you don't, after your experimentation, if you don't go and kill it, it will keep the meter will keep running. Okay, so if you are going to try it, do try it. It's very good, but do delete everything. Okay, once your trial is over. So first step is provisioning the service, and then you can go about loading your data. And after that, maybe you can make use of the indexer, create an index, and then do the search finally. Okay, so that's it from my side. Now it's Himanshu's turn. So over to you, Himanshu, for the demo. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Swarna. Thank you for a great introduction and presentation. So let's go ahead with the demo. I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
So for this demo, I'm using Swarna's account actually. So thank you, Swarna, for that. We will log into our Azure portal and we'll search for cognitive service to create this. So like we have cognitive search and cognitive services. So we have directly cognitive search option available with us. So we can use that. Even if we go for cognitive service so we can see a list of all service available: form recognizer, immersive reader, metrics advisor, video analyzer, cognitive search, and bot service. So for this demo, we'll go ahead with cognitive search. To create the service, we'll simply go for create. So it will ask us some questions like subscription, resource group. So we have a resource group right now. So we'll not create new, and we'll select with the global Azure virtual demo. So we have that resource group, and then we have to give a service name. So for this demo, I want to take a use case for resume search, where we have a list of resume and we'll search for a desired resume. So I'll name it as VM resume search. And we can select location. So I'll go with East US, and then we can select pricing tier. So there is a table for this pricing tier, so we can see like how costly it can go, as Swarna mentioned. So free tier is also available, but there is restriction with indexers and storage is very less. And we already have a service created, so I'll go with basic, and we'll see how flexible is this as compared to free one. Then we can scale the service based on the pricing tier only. We can enable that networking based on the project requirement. We can add all these things, tags also we can add, and then we can go for review plus create. So it will once confirm and validate all the details that is the resource valid to be created. And once validation is passed, we can click on create, and the service will be deployed in the portal. So meanwhile, it deploys the service. Let's go ahead with the data source. So we'll use the data source as a storage account, where we'll use a blob storage. So I'll show you the storage service, which is this one, VM resume bank. I have created a storage account. In that, I have added container where we have multiple blobs, out of which the blob which we are using is resume 2022. So I have added currently 6 files, and we will try to fetch this data source into our service. So it's deployed. Let's go to the resource. So as we can see, like this is the way search service dashboard. In this dashboard, in the left hand side, we have multiple options like settings to configure keys or connect to different service, then monitoring, alerts, matrices, how we are using, cost analysis. Also, we can see how many times it's used. All this thing monitoring we can do, and automation is also there, and resource health as well. Sometimes what happens is like resource is running or not used. Some health issues might occur, but it's not actually the case. It's 99% available for 3 replicas or more. So let's hide that menu and let's go ahead with the service dashboard. So it's like we have multiple options available, like getting started. So it has some get start links, users, monitoring, indexers, data sources, skill sets, and debug session. So we'll take one by one these all things. To actually leverage the search service, we have to have the data. So we can import the data from here. So there are 2 approaches. If we are using code, like for example, you have created .NET Core service. So from the application, when you send the data, so that is called a push approach to send the data to the search service. But currently, when we are using portal, so it's an import data and a pull service, where we'll pull from some data source. So when we click on import data, we have to select an option. So what is the data source? As we can see, like there are multiple data sources available. For now, as we have seen, like we have a blob storage. So we'll use that. Once we select the data source, accordingly, the menu is there for the configuration, like what all details it requires, we have to provide. So this is the data source name. The data source name we are creating so that we can recognize that if we add multiple data sources, so which data source is that? For that, we will give a naming. So let's say like resume data blob kind of. So like it's coming from blob, so I'm naming it as blob. Maybe we can have something from SQL, so we can say SQL. So now data to extract. So we are going to extract content and metadata both. Then parsing mode, we can keep it as default. Multiple parsing modes are available, but let's go ahead with default. Now connection string. So the beauty of this service is like if we are, and most of the Azure services are that if the services are deployed in different Azure account, different tenant, we can use connection string or different keys, service connections, and pass it here and connect. So currently we can use an existing connection string because the service storage account is also in the same subscription. So here we go. We can select the resume 2022 and set. So yeah, as you can see, like it loads the connection string and then container name as well. So we don't have any specific blob folder. Like we have this container resume 2022. We'll go ahead with adding cognitive skills. As Swarna mentioned during the presentation that we can have different cognitive service. So let it validate once. If there is any issue. So no schema index is detected. That means like it has basically detected what all documents are available in the blob storage and what kind of index can be created. So now for that to enhance it more, we can add cognitive service. We can create a new cognitive service for a enterprise level application. But for now, our use case, we can use this free cognitive service for limited enrichments of the document. We can add enrichment. So what kind of enrichment we require? So we can for that, like that will be a skill set. So what kind of enrichment we are adding? So currently we will go ahead with the default index name skill set. We can name it anything like as per our naming convention. So source data field is content. We can have different source fields as well. Then we can have like enrichment granularity level, what kind of granularity we want, pages, character chunks or sentences. Then we can add incremental enrichment. So now, what are the field names which are required for your extraction? So these are the basic default names or fields which you can extract. Let's go ahead with all and let's see what all resume contains and what all it delivers. So this is the additional enrichment for knowledge store, which we can add. We can pass it to Power BI and all this service addition we can do from here. Right now, we are not going ahead with that. We'll just do basic enrichment and then customize the target index. So this step will create the index and indexers. So what indexers does is like it will update the index. And what index does is it is a table, as Swarna explained. So it is an index. Index name we are providing and then key. So it is we are taking as a storage path because it will be always unique for all the service. If we take name, maybe name might be common, duplicate, some issues might be there, but that this particular key will be unique always. Every file will be a unique path. Then suggestion name we can add, and we can add multiple fields as well. Currently, these are all the suggested field based on the document. We are giving the option, getting the options like mask text, PII entities. So like it is personal information identifier entities like text, types of type, offset, length, all these things are there. Name. So after that, organization, people, location, key phrases, what all are used here, we can extract that and we can send it through API. So for our use case, we can take one more thing. Say for example, if the HR wants to check the resume where it is located, so we'll search for the storage name. So in that way, it will send the storage name which is available, and we can do some more configuration with the API and get the storage from the get the block from the storage account. So now we have configured this, and mostly we are fine with this. So let's go ahead and deploy. So create an indexer. So based on this all selection of field names, it will create an indexer, and we can select the schedule. How many times in a day or weekly, hourly? What is the frequency of the indexer to run? We can run it manually as well. So let's do it schedule it once. Then we can manually run it, but we can customize as well as per the time we want. It can be as low as in minutes as well. So every minute also you can run. So let's submit the details and create an indexer and update the index as well. So it's creating the search notification. It's creating skills and all the specification we have defined. Once it's created, then we will be able to see the index and indexer on the dashboard. This should be reflected, indexer should be reflected here and indexer should be reflected here. So I think it's successfully deployed. So let's refresh it. Yeah, so as you can see, indexers and indexes have been created. So as we can see, like the indexer run and document separated are 6. So as we have seen, the storage account had 6 documents, successfully added 6 document. If we rerun it, it will not add any document here, like because there is no additional document. We'll see that as well in the use case. For now index is also updated actually. It should reflect soon on the portal. Maybe because of my bandwidth, it's not updating. But let's try to give it a search. So for now, there are 6 different files. So let's try with the name. So there's a colleague whose name is Teja. Let's try to search his name from here. So let's do a search. And let's see what all results it brings. So it don't get scared of this. This is a JSON response which is generated because of the fields, number of fields we've selected. We have selected it all almost. So it's returning it all, what all extraction it has done. So what all details are there, mask data, and all the things are there. So one more thing which we specifically selected was the source. So it would have placed somewhere the source as well. So the source of file source as well. So we can see it in one more way. We can create a small demo application to check the API. So what we are doing is we are enabling the course. So course is cross origin object response. So course means like if you are adding this API to your any web application or any mobile application, so you have to enable that URL. So currently no origin is allowed, but if we click on all, then every anybody who is having your API can access it, but we can customize it by adding some field. For the use case, we can keep it as enable all and then create a demo application for that. So it's very easy, and we can see that like it's very quick. So let's take 2 fields. Say for example, title is the name of the person, and description maybe like let's say metadata storage name. And with the click of create a demo app, we can get a small index page downloaded. So here you can see that small Azure search index page is available. So that's the so now let's try to check. Let's try to search all. So if I type star, then we can check all the names or documents are available, and let's see how it shows in the proper formatting. So it's not loading the result. Let's try the name. Okay, so again I feel like it's some bandwidth issue, so maybe it's not loading in my local system. But let's discard the settings and let's go ahead with this resume search application once. Let's check what all we can do online.
Himanshu, we have 10 minutes left for your session.
Thank you so much, Latika. I'll take that and yeah, I'll complete in time. So let's go ahead with some more enhancement for the storage. So actually what we have done here is we are using this document. So let's operate the index and indexes. So for here, we'll go to the containers and open our blob storage. So resume 2022. So currently, as we have seen, like 6 documents are there and 6 documents are already fetched. So let's try to add more. So I'll try to upload few more documents. And also I would like to mention that these are not of same type. So it's one is doc file and one is PDF. So this is a small example where different document types can be used. We could add PPT as well as HTML file as well for the extraction. So currently what we will do is I will select a document. Okay. Take a small slice from my apologies for that. So documents, bootcamp demo is there. So I think our folder name is some resume. Let's search for resume. So we have this folder. From there we will select it all. Like we can add few more 6 to 7 resume and upload that into Blob Storage. So let's open and upload. So this is the beauty, like we can upload multiple files in one go. So as it is uploading and it is giving us the notification, we can connect the Blob Storage using connection testing to some other web application as well to upload a document and then get it auto scheduled for the search service. So meanwhile it is uploading. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll take Bhaskar's name as a reference and I'll try to search that. in a search service. But for that, what we need is we need to update the search service. What we need to update is we need to update the indexer. So let's go to the indexer. Our existing indexer with the last run and data succeeded, it should be showing some 6 document, but we need to run the indexer and update with the existing document. So we have added 7 to 8 documents. So let's try to run the indexer and check the output. Yeah. So it's running the indexer in the backend, and it's validating that what all the new documents are there. It's checking, and then it will process and create an index. Then we'll receive a notification here. So yeah, so as you can see, 7 more documents are added, and it was successfully added. So there was no error and no warning over there. So it's great. So let's go ahead with the search service. So I actually forgot the name. Okay, let's try with the search explorer from here. So this is a shortcut from where you can search the index. So we can select multiple index are this, so we can select our index name here, and let's try to search for Bharat, if I'm not wrong. So Bharat is not there. Check the name for any particular resume which we have added. From the sample resumes we have, okay, Bhaskar Bhatt. Okay, so let's try to search for Bhaskar, and it should load the search result soon. It's very quick service actually, so it's not loading here. Let's search for some skill actually based on like .NET or other service. So what result does it gives? So for example, it's give my name is also there, so as .NET, and we can check for some other person as well, like say Kiran is there. So this can be actually seen in a more clear way if we use this as an API and call it in an application and sort the JSON. So that can be in a more systematic way. So that was the basic search service implementation. There is a lot more to add to this service, which we can do. We can play along with this. We can integrate more service. I want to show an example. For that, I'll reshare my screen with the audio so that we can watch that small short video. Okay. Yeah. So, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Himanshu.
So I'll play a short video, which is the implementation of the Azure service with all different integration. Let's play the video for okay.
The Met is not just a place that you visit, but it's really a great service to an audience all around the world.
The Met receives 7 million visitors through its stores annually. However, we're interested in
This actually bandwidth issue. Let me reduce the resolution. I think it may become. So let's select the services.
Himanshu, you just paste the URL. I think it's
Yeah,
buffering.
I can actually, yeah. So apologies.
Just share the URL.
Sure. Okay, so thank you for your time, and we are open for question.
Yeah, I'll read the questions for you. So the first one is how to integrate search into my solution, make use of the admin and query keys which you need to copy over to your code.
So when we go through the search service dashboard, we will be able to see APIs, and we can use those APIs, integrate in our code. It is very easy. It's a kind of GET API for fetching the search results. If you have to add the data from our .NET code, then that will be a different set of APIs.
The second question is, does Azure Cognitive Search has a role to play in digital transformation? And if yes, then how?
So Azure Cognitive Search can play a huge role in the digital transformation. So one example I was trying to show where they have used it for museum. So what they have done is like for 2 million different artifacts and articles, they have added the search service, and once they upload the picture of the particular article, historic article, so it can identify the type, it can identify the years, like how many years back the art would have survived, and whose art can be, or if it is a literature kind of, then who can be the author. So that in that way this service can work. Other than that, also for multiple, as Swarna mentioned, the use cases like some law documents identification. So multiple places we can use, and there is a lot of scope available for to be explored with the cognitive service.
So the next question is Azure Cognitive Search available in all regions?
It's currently available for 20 regions. So we need to check the list of availability, and actually what Azure does is it slowly adds to the accessibility to the different region based on the availability. So